Hey guys, I was, like I said earlier in the weekend, I was going to do a retro review, but unfortunately the video I was watching doesn't work. So it's going to be pushed back to the side a little bit. However, I am going to start reviewing Ring Ka King. That's right, the wrestling promotion in India that TNA is, working with, doing. I'm going to start reviewing that show every week. And I actually watched episode number 1. So, let's get to it. So, how does this show begin? How does Ring Ka King begin? Well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, Ring Ka King in English is King of the Ring. Yeah, I can smell a lawsuit coming. No, I can't. Actually, it starts off with this guy, Mika Singh, who is a pop star in India, as he's singing as he goes down the aisle, and a bunch of women are dancing around the ring and the stage and all that, and the crowd's going crazy. Now, the stage, I have to tell you guys, the entranceway is a lot bigger and a lot more better looking produced than TNA Impact's stage is. So after that, in comes Kubra Said. Hello, Kubra. So she and Mr. Singh talk for a little bit, and Miss Said talks about the 2 titles and the tournaments that they're going to have, the heavyweight title tournament and the tag team title tournament. And there will also be female wrestlers that will be in Ring Ka King. Now, the play-by-play announcers, and I had to write these names down for notes, are Siddharth Kanan and Joe Bath. I kid you not. The other guy's name is Joe Bath. But one thing I like about them is, like, during the whole show, like, one of them, like, 3 times during the show, is like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So, and then Miss Said introduces Harbhajan Singh, who he was described on the bottom of the screen as the Goodwill Ambassador for Ring Ka King. So then he introduces these 8 wrestlers: Chavo Guerrero Jr., Max B, Brutus Magnus as Sir Brutus Magnus, Dr. Nicholas Dinsmore, Sanjay Dutt, Mahabali Vila, Scott Steiner, Matt Morgan. Those are the 8 wrestlers that get introduced. Then we are introduced to Jazzy Lahoria, who on the screen is announced as the commissioner of Ring Ka King, and he has a bodyguard, it seems like. And he's a huge guy, and he's known as Deadly Danda. Remember, this is in India. So after all the announcements are made, down comes the Ring Ka King heavyweight title from the roof. Yes, like it's a ladder match. And Harbhajan puts the belt on his shoulder and wishes everybody luck. Then Jeremy Borash comes into the ring. Well, we do have to have somebody, speaking English for us, because we don't speak Punjabi or whatever language they speak. And he talks to Matt Morgan, saying how Matt Morgan is the favorite in the tournament because of his height. While the interview is going on, Brutus Magnus interrupts, saying how can he be the favorite when you've got Magnus, Scott Steiner, and Sanjay Dutt, together as a group. How's he the favorite? And they're going to start fighting, and then Deadly Danda comes in, and he breaks things up. It's pretty funny. It's pretty neat. So the first match is Dr. Nicholas Dinsmore against Mahabali Vila. Now, as I was watching this match, Vila in a way, sort of reminds me a bit of John Cena. What I mean by that is he has the full, support of the fans, but at the same time, he seems like his movesets are a little bit limited. But this is the first time I've seen him. The match isn't long. It's maybe not even 5 minutes. Mahabali Vila gets the win after a spine buster on Dinsmore, getting the win, and Vila advances into the tournament. So we come back, and Brutus Magnus is on the phone with somebody. We don't know who, and he keeps calling him boss. And he's like, me and Sanjay and Steiner, we're in the tournament. We got 3 of the 8 spots, boss. We're going to win the title. We're going to win the title. And, and so they're just prepping that up. So they're working for somebody, which I actually like. I actually enjoyed that. Then we get a man come to the ring. His name is Shira. And no, I'm not talking about the cartoon. The guy's name is Shira. And then he introduces the American Adonis. The American Adonis, who turns out to be Chris Masters. Yes, his name is American Adonis. Now, he comes into the ring, and he's actually cutting a good promo. This is one of the things I enjoyed about Chris Masters when he was in WWE, was he was cutting promos. And he talked about how, he is going to have the Adonis Lock Challenge. And if anybody can break out of the Adonis Lock, they will win, in this briefcase, Ruby, which is the money that they have in India. So he looks for a fan, points out to a fan, and the fan's name is Zed. And he's like, okay, Zed, here's your opportunity to win all this money, whatever it's called, if you can break out of the Adonis Lock. Yes, that's got to be on Botchamania. Come on. Can't even remember the name of the money. So anyway, American Adonis puts the Adonis Lock on, and Zed gives up. So, and of course, he says no one can break out of the Adonis Lock. So we come back, or we go backstage, and Mahabali Vila is being interviewed after, his win, when Matt Morgan comes out and he congratulates him and says that he hopes that he meets him in the finals of the tournament. So, now we go to the, we go to the ring, or we go to the announcers who preview next week's show, which will feature Scott Steiner against Max B, and Sanjay Dutt will take on Chavo Guerrero Jr. Those actually could be 2 good matches, depending on what happens. So now we go to our main event. Sir Brutus Magnus against Matt Morgan. Now, of course, you guys know I don't watch TNA, but I do know that the storyline going on in TNA with Morgan and Crimson against Samoa Joe and Magnus. I know that, but thankfully that's not brought into this match. And these 2 guys have a good match. It's a good match to watch. It wasn't boring. It wasn't stupid. And, I believed in Magnus as a heel. I really did. And Brutus Magnus, for me, convinced me as a heel. I would love, if I was watching TNA, I would love to see Magnus as that type of heel where he talks and he's a little bit cowardly, but he does action. He's a wrestler. Match ends when Morgan hits the choke slam on Magnus, then hits the carbon footprint, gets the win. Now, after the match, Sanjay Dutt comes running into the ring, and he stares at Morgan. And then Scott Steiner comes to the ring, and this was one of the times where the announcer was like, oh my God! So it's going to be 2-on-1. Sanjay Dutt and Scott Steiner against Morgan. Well, here comes Vila coming down to the ring, and we just get the stare down, between Dutt and Steiner and Morgan and Vila, and that's basically how the first episode of Ring Ka King comes to an end. Now, I have to say this. I enjoyed this show. I truly enjoyed this show. I am a fan of it. This is episode 1, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was a lot of fun. It was, different from what we see here in the United States. The videos are up on YouTube. I think even one person has like the entire episode up, which is like 44 minutes, I think. But I gotta say, of the wrestlers I saw, my favorite character has to be Dr. Nicholas Dinsmore, who is Eugene, but Dr. Nicholas Dinsmore. That's a good character right there. Like I said, Vila's gonna be the John Cena of the company, I think. Will he get pushed? Who knows? And I gotta say, the commissioner, he looked like, and I can't remember the character's name in G.I. Joe, but he's the bald guy with the mustache. He sort of looked like him, except he was a little bit more pudgy. But really, I enjoyed watching this first episode of Ring Ka King. And I'm really hoping that the second episode, is good. And like I said, I'm going to do, a weekly review of this show, and I hope this works. I really hope this works, because it was a fun show to watch. It was a good show to watch, and I definitely recommend you guys going onto YouTube right now, watching Ring Ka King.